Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm just gonna go and call this out. I'm gonna have to use this mic. Everybody can hear me, right? Fantastic. I am not a mic user typically, so this is gonna be fun. Bear with me, but we're gonna be standing right in this area for the camera and all that. I'm just gonna, get some of the details out of the way. But guys, I'm excited to be here with you guys. I appreciate you coming to our talk, to our breakout. We are Stonehenge Media. We're based in Nashville, Tennessee. We've never been to a shed conference. Let's be honest about that. Who's been to a shed conference? Great, all of you, except for us. That's fantastic. We are kind of the outliers here, but we believe that we've got something really important for you today that I'm excited, Charlie and I are excited to talk to you about. My name is Trent Meyers. This is Charlie Sells. Everybody say hi, Chuck Sells. His last name really is Sells.
Really is.
It's kind of wild.
And I've spent my entire life avoiding sales, so there's a lot of irony.
I'm trying to get him on the sales side of our business, but he won't do it. Guys, we started Stonehenge Media very recently with kind of a passion and a mission of helping businesses work with an agency that is for the people. And what's interesting about being here is that that's what this conference is all about, is people first. And that's really what our business is about. It is about working with small business owners, medium-sized business owners, and helping them grow their business in all areas, from content marketing to brand messaging to video production. We kind of cover a gambit of different areas when it comes to marketing and media, and that's what we are excited to talk to you about today. Charlie's going to lean in on the content side and why brand and messaging is so important as you're connecting with your audiences and your customers. And then I'm going to lean more on the video side of things, and we're going to deep dive a little bit into the what and the why, not how to make video. A lot of you guys may either know that or know somebody that's doing that, but really the what and the why, it's so important. So I'm going to hand it over to Charlie, and then I'm going to come back up here and talk about some video, but give it up for Charlie Sells, everybody.
Thanks, buddy. All right, real quick, Trent alluded to this, that the whole reason that we started this particular venture, this group, is because all of us have worked in agency life. We've worked in-house for large brands, national brands, and most of us have even done freelance work outside of that. And the thing that we are most passionate about is helping small businesses do what they are best at. So a lot of times when you work with an agency or you work with a big group of people, you'll run into their playbook or their goals or the things that they think you should accomplish. And what we want to do is, and what we do with small businesses is we come in, we do an assessment and an audit, we figure out what your goals are, we figure out what would work best for your market, your area, your industry, and then we give you a whole team, however many people that is. We have 7 areas that we cover in digital marketing, and so it might be 2 of those people, it might be all 7 of those people that you get to interface with. But that's what we love to do, is we love to get to know your business, we love to get to know your goals, and from there, we do not ever get prescriptive by saying this is exactly what you should do. We want to partner with small businesses so that we can collaborate together and create great brands together. So with that in mind, other than your own, I would love for you to name one of your favorite brands, somebody you follow, maybe their videos are fantastic, a brand that you've bought their stuff for the last 10, 15, 20 years. Somebody raise your hand, give me an example of a brand that you just absolutely rave about. Yes?
Dude Perfect.
Dude Perfect. Why do you love Dude Perfect? That's the best reason to love Dude Perfect, because that's some of the best content that's out there on the internet right now. Yes, sir, in the back. Yeah. You've had 3 Subarus. Wow, that's a lot of Subarus. But I know that they're incredibly customer loyal in their products and everything. Somebody else, a brand that you love. Yes, sir. Milwaukee. Like the city or the tools? Okay, just making sure. All right, why do you love Milwaukee tools? They just work. I mean, that's all you need, right? You just need a tool that works. Anybody else? Chick-fil-A. Self-explanatory. Nobody needs to know why we all love Chick-fil-A, right? So I've got 2 brands that I absolutely love. Has anybody ever heard of Liquid Death? Okay, if you haven't heard of them, I guarantee you have seen some of their marketing. It is wild. It is extreme. They have leaned into this brand persona full force. Their origin story, I think, is even more interesting. Back in 2019, there were a couple of guys who lived in LA, and they wanted to go to all of these concerts, but they didn't want to walk around and look really lame with these clear plastic water bottles, and everybody else has got, whatever drinks are being served that night. And so they were like, maybe we could design something that looks like a can of, an alcoholic beverage or an adult beverage, and walk around and start conversations with it. And so that's what they did. And they made it so interesting that it has now, 10x, maybe even 20x some of their revenue. It's one of the greatest things. In fact, the first time I had one of these, I was driving in a car on vacation. My sister and her husband were with me. And when we got to the restaurant, she looked at me. She was like, "Hey, can you please next time not drink and drive? That'd be great, because we don't want you to get arrested, and we certainly don't want to get injured." And I was like, "What did you think was in that?" "It's just water. It's just flavored water." And she was blown away because it looks like some of these other beer and mixed drink cans, which is just absolutely incredible. One of my favorite brands, and every time I take this out into public, it starts one of those types of conversations. People go, "Is that just water? Has that water been cursed? That is one of the urban legends around them, by the way, is somebody actually cursed their water." It's not true, by the way. My other favorite brand is Patagonia. Patagonia, I wish that everybody could have the same kind of philosophy around clothing that Patagonia does. Patagonia wants to make something that you will buy once and potentially never need again. They, in their stores, and even do some tours, I think at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, they will repair your stuff as much as they possibly can. Now, if it is just messed up beyond repair, then they will you can trade it in for credit towards another Patagonia product. The other thing that's so interesting about them is that they are very, very clear on that goal and one other one, that they care deeply about the environment. We know those two things about Patagonia. They ran a campaign a few years ago that said the earth is our number one shareholder now, meaning they give X number of company profits over to environmental causes, green causes, every single year. So if I were to ask you what makes these brands work, could you boil it down to maybe a couple of things? Or think about the brand that you mentioned. Could you boil it down to a couple of things? If you take Dude Perfect, for example, they're really entertaining. It is hard not to walk away with a smile on your face going, "I can't believe they made that trick shot." And they're perfect for families, right? We all know when you go to a Chick-fil-A, no matter where you go in the country, you're going to get the exact same service. Any kind of brand that is doing well or works, I believe, boils down to two things: that their marketing and their brand is clear and it's aligned. Those are very, very simply what makes brands win. Because when you look at it, confusion and misalignment, they will create hidden taxes in your business. No matter how big or how small you are, if there is any kind of confusion or if there's any kind of misalignment, specifically internally, then there will be hidden taxes on your business. And here's what I mean by that. When you have confusion and misalignment, especially if you run a small team or a big team, or you are working with contractors or an agency or whoever it is, most of the time, you'll waste time answering the same questions, clarifying ideas, trying to get everybody on the same page, which means people will make poor decisions, and those poor decisions will lead to duplicated work, and people think, "I thought it was my responsibility." No, I thought it was your responsibility. And then that will lead to burnout, and you'll have to hire more people to do the same things, and you'll be in this endless cycle. Low morale, and then it will slow your business growth. And that's just on the internal side, because then on the external side, all of that confusion and misalignment leads to missed opportunities out in your marketplace or your community, frustrated customers who don't understand how to use your stuff, how to use your warranties, how to get better customer service, whatever. It leads to brand erosion and eventually to lost revenue. That was a really dark rabbit hole that we just went on for your business, right? But that is the hidden tax if there is confusion and misalignment in your brand in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So if you get the sense that anything in your business is unclear or misaligned, I take businesses through these 7 steps to get on the other side of it, to get to a place of clarity and alignment so that you can go faster and you can build a brand that you love and inevitably makes you more money. So the first one is curiosity. Trent, I almost didn't want to say this story. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, all right. So I was a youth pastor for 10 years. I got to work with teenagers. One of my favorite things to bug teenagers with was saying this phrase. I fully believe 100%, and I'll give you my dissertation some other time, that cheerleading is not a sport. I don't believe cheerleading is a sport. Now I see some people going, I might buy that for a second, but I also raised a cheerleader, so I'm not sure I believe that, right? If I would have just said that, bar none, black and white, and gone on about my life, I'm sure that I would have made even more people mad than I already did over those 10 years. But I got really curious about this idea, and I wanted to know why that was such a divisive topic and why that may or may not be true. What I figured out was there were two reasons that I think there's some confusion around all of that. Number one, we've misdefined the term sport in a lot of ways. We think it just applies to any kind of physical activity. Number two is the term athlete. We have so tied the term athlete and sport together that they've become inseparable in many ways. But once you separate those out, now you understand you don't have to be an athlete to play a sport, and not all sports include athletes. And so had I not, I would be one of the most hated people in America. Maybe I am today. I don't know. Did I make any friends today? Lose any friends? Who knows? Curiosity is the thing that will drive you to get out of a place of being stuck and unclear and misaligned. Sometimes that is data-driven. The numbers don't make sense, or the numbers are declining, and so we need to investigate that a little bit. Sometimes it's just doubt about maybe where your business is headed or how your brand is being perceived, and you go do some customer research. Sometimes it just comes from a place of wonder. I wonder what it would be like if we did X or Y or Z. Now, the opposite of that, I guarantee has been in your business at some point, is certainty. We can all give the two-word answers. Hey, we're just going to do this because we've always done it that way, or because I said so, if you're in charge. And certainty can shut down that curiosity and keep you stuck and keep your brand from growing. So if we don't have that dismissive posture, if we do take a posture of curiosity, now we can begin the process of getting clear and aligned. Trying to accomplish. What are the KPIs? Where do we want to take this business in 5 or 10 years if we dream a little bit? What campaigns are currently running? That's one of the first questions I ask businesses. What are you currently doing, and how is it affecting your entire business? What context are you operating in? Also includes things like location. What city are we in? What mediums are available to us? The opposite of that is just speculation and guesswork. If we are constantly guessing, or we just assume this is the thing that is going to work, and it will eventually lead us to our goals, that again will stifle your growth. So after we set the stage and get that done foundationally, we look at this next part, which is, are we being competitive? And I would argue that this is one of the most overlooked pieces of your business. The reason for that is, we get overconfident about, we've done it for so long, we must be differentiating ourselves. We must be the ones who are different than our competitors, right? But if you ask questions like, are we actually leaning into our competitive advantage? Are we actually copying and pasting from somebody else? Are we just doing what everybody else is doing? If we're not differentiating ourselves, if we're not being competitive in the market, no matter what the medium is, then we're still going to lose as a brand. Number 4, and this is probably my favorite one personally, are we being consistent everywhere? As a brand messaging copywriting expert, this is the one that I push on the most. So many business owners have so much to say. A lot of marketers will say, we've got to say the right words. Well, yeah, that's true, but we also have to make sure that we are being consistent everywhere. That means our sales copy needs to match our marketing copy. That means our web copy needs to match our printed copy. That means we have to be saying the same things even if we are blue in the face over and over and over again. The problem that most business owners that I work with the problem we run into is most of them assume that's just happening because they said it once in a staff meeting, or because we wrote it down one time and expected somebody to read our brand guidelines. You have to constantly be checking your brand and saying, are we being consistent in every single area of our marketing? Number 5, are we trying to do too much? Are we being concise? Are we trying to do too many things at one time? Are we focusing on the right areas and the places where we're going to get natural momentum? The opposite of this is just being too broad. This is what a lot of agencies will say that you should do. Oh, just, take a shotgun approach to it, and let's blast this out everywhere. Let's cast a wide net and just see what happens. You're going to waste a lot of time and money if you do that. You can do 100 things sort of well, or you could do just a few things very, very well. That is what makes certain brands succeed versus others. Now, if you have a massive marketing budget and you want to go do all of those things, by all means, please go and do that. But more often than not, rather than taking the shotgun approach, it's better to take a sniper rifle approach and say, what's one thing that we can focus on to move our needle today? Now, number 6 is clarity. Yeah, I said it. This is not the last step in the process. If you want to get to a place of clarity and alignment, this is actually not the last step in the process. And here's why. Because you have to get clarity and alignment before you go and do anything else. You have to look around your team and say, does everybody understand the goal we are trying to accomplish? Does everybody understand? Are we all on the same page? This also does not mean that you have 100% agreement. I think a lot of times we look for consensus and agreement and assume that is the direction we should go. But as long as everybody understands what you're doing and is at least willing to say, let's go after this and let's try it, that means everybody is clear and aligned. And of course, the opposite of this is confusion. And we talked about all those taxes. You will, by the way you know that you are in a place of clarity and alignment, if you look around the room and you see a lot of big, bug-eyed, like dilated pupils, very confused, like, okay, I guess this is where we're going. You got to pull over and say, all right, if nobody is clear or if we're still not all aligned, let's figure that out now before we go do the last step, which is create. After you've gone through all of this process, after we have trimmed the fat, after we know that everybody can see the forest through the trees, then we get to go and make stuff. This is the most important thing you could do. In the spirit of clarity and alignment, go make calls, go write, go design, go develop, go dream, go do all of the things that you planned on doing anyways. The opposite of creating is just rinsing and repeating. Most people will say if your ads aren't working, if your paid ads aren't working, or if your social media presence isn't thriving, change something. But too often we just go, oh, we got a lead off of that. If it took you 100, 200, 300, 5,000 different touch points to get there, we got to go back and look at something called a conversion rate and make sure that we are actually optimizing for the right things. So don't ever assume that you can just set it and forget it or that your brand is on rinse and repeat. These 7 steps, by the way, I do some of this weekly with some of our clients, where we will go through this and say, does everybody understand the goals? Is anything confusing? Are we saying the right things in the right place? Does anything need to be trimmed up? And then eventually we get to the place where that just becomes so second nature and everybody can do it. This is also really effective, by the way, in quarterly planning, budget planning, the big meetings and the big moments that you go through. So when we apply this to different areas, my area specifically is brand messaging and content, then you get to see how it plays out in marketing copy, it trickles over into design, it trickles over into sales. There's such a ripple effect, and that applies to any area of your marketing. Trent's going to come up and he's going to talk specifically about how we leverage video in that way. So after we go through all of this from a creative standpoint, now we get to execute on it. And if you weren't in there for the beginning session, Trent created that wonderful video that you guys saw at the beginning. He's too humble to say it himself, but he's the one who made that happen. So, Trent, tell us a little bit about how we apply this to video.
All right, y'all give it up for Charlie Sells. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, so we did make that video, and I'm very proud of it. It does what I think we're doing today, which is talking about messaging, talking about connecting. And so really quick, before I get started, who in here currently uses video in your business, to market your business, to sell a product? We got a couple of hands. Okay. I believe that by the time I'm done talking, by the time we're done here, and this is a very declarative statement, but I believe that more of you will feel inclined to incorporate video into your businesses and how you're marketing as it relates to all the things that Charlie's just laid out. So today I want to talk about the power of video and turning brand messages into business growth, because I think video is easily the most important aspect to building a brand and communicating the message that he just laid out and how you build that message, communicating that out to your audience. So, once you know your message, how do you make sure that it reaches thousands, if not millions of people? Well, video is the answer to that. It's very simple. Now, a lot of people make this whole process of creating video very complex. And it's very simple. Today, we're not going to talk about the how to make it. We're going to talk about the what you're going to make and why you're going to make it. So another quick show of hands. How many of you have watched a video recently on social media, on TV, whatever it be, that has helped inform or encourage you to buy something? Probably most of us, right? We see it every day, right? We're scrolling through social media. Video is everywhere. It is impacting everything we do, from where we go to eat, to the things that we buy, the clothes that we buy, Patagonia, Liquid Death, all these things, right? It is, when used strategically, it translates your message. It builds trust. It influences the decisions you make every day. And ultimately, it will grow your business, whether you're connecting with directly with customers and consumers who are buying a product, maybe you're in the rent-to-own space, and you're connecting with consumers, or if you're in the manufacturing space and you're connecting with other businesses. There is a way to connect that. So I want to talk about some practical steps, and we're going to dive into really quickly. I'm going to highlight over this, or rush over this really fast. Then we're going to go into some practical things. But why video matters? Well, for one, it builds trust faster than text and static images, bar none, all over the place. 90% of people say that video helps them make buying decisions, like we just determined in here. 70% of B2B buyers watch video during the buying journey. So you're in that manufacturing space. If you're creating videos that help translate your message, they are watching. It is encouraging them. It is changing their mind and how they buy, the areas that they buy. And here's why. Because it communicates. Video is an opportunity to communicate your value and meaning. So as business owners, as leaders in your industries, there's a couple of things that you just really want to have, right? You want to have a good product, but ultimately you really want to have a good message. You want to have good values that you stand on. And why is that, right? Because it gives something for the audience to connect to, right? I'm going to show you some things here in just a minute on why that's important, but it's so important to connect with your audience beyond just a product. And we all know that, but I think it's important that we highlight that video is what helps make that happen. And so video is a multiplier of your brand and messaging. So why is that? Well, think of your brand, think of your company, think of the message that you want to create as a seed. When you plant a seed, what happens? A plant grows, you bear fruit, right? Video is the water and the sunlight that helps that grow. And here's what I mean. Unlike a meeting or an email, video works 24/7. You don't have to hit send. You don't have to do anything extra. You post that video, you send it out, you create a good, compelling message in a video, it's going to work for you 24/7, reaching thousands, if not millions of people. And it scales without having any extra headache, which is exactly what you need when you're trying to grow a business, trying to grow a brand, trying to grow an audience. And when done strategically, it doesn't just communicate your message, it amplifies it. And so I'm going to show you two different images here. So two very different images. You're probably like, what are we even looking at here? So on the left side, you've got a guy with a megaphone screaming and probably letting everybody know what his message is, right? This is our typical ads. This is what we see on TV. When you're at home, you've got your show running, and then all of a sudden, the commercials come on. What happens typically? The volume jumps way up, and they're screaming at you. Hey, buy this product, buy this thing. Look at our brand, look at our thing. Do you ever buy those? No. Typically you don't, right? It's something to just kind of get in the back of your head, but you don't trust that company, you don't trust that brand. But on the other side, you've got two guys, two friends sitting down over a beer, a coffee, or whatever it is, they're connecting. This is what you want to do with your videos. This is the kind of video that we need to create for our brands, for our companies. So let's look at the what and the why, and I'm gonna cover four core types of videos that you need to be creating in your business and for your business that will ultimately, all four of them together, will help expand the message that you're looking to send. The first is credibility. So these are the trust builders, right? What is a credibility video? Think of your brand story. Think about the thing that Charlie just talked about with Patagonia and Liquid Death. What's the story behind it, right? Liquid Death started with, well, maybe we can just walk around with a can in our hand that's water, but it doesn't look like it, right? What is the brand story? Define what that is for you. Okay, so then you look at customer testimonials, real people who have bought your product, who have rented with your company, whatever the case may be, real people giving you testimonials on video. Because what it does is it shows other people, other potential customers, wow, there's actually people out there shopping with this company. They're actually interacting with this company. And then lastly, behind the scenes looks at your culture. So this can be hey guys, today I'm going to show you around our office. I'm going to show you around our warehouse. I'm going to show you around our thing. I'm going to introduce you to our people today. And we film this, right? So this is putting your company on camera to show the behind the scenes look. What does it look like a day in the life of the rent-to-own shed company, right? What that does is that builds credibility with your audience. It shows them that you're real people. It humanizes you. And it shows them that these people know what they're doing, they care about us, and they care about communicating with us. And they're not just trying to sell us a product, which I think is so, so important. Credibility videos increase loyalty. They improve referrals, which I think we all probably are wanting, right? And they create emotional connection, far beyond anything you'll see on the typical ad space. And here's the thing. I think we can all agree, because we're all customers, we're all consumers in this room. Customers don't just buy the best products. They buy from the company they trust most. And ultimately, you guys are creating companies, brands, products that should be trusted, right? At the end of the day, when the thing finally happens, when the shed falls over, when the storm happens and it takes it away, whatever the case is, at the end of the day, when that moment happens for your customer, you want them to have just an instinct reaction. I know who I'm going to call. I know the guys I'm going to go to. And they don't know why, but it's probably because they've seen your content online. They've seen how you've communicated to them over the course of an extended period of time. All right, number 2, explainers and demos. This is a really simple one, but I think it's really important. These cut through the complexity of what your business is about, what your product is about. If your product, or you say you've got a product or service or whatever it is hard to explain in words, a lot of times that's the case. Well, video makes it simple. It's visual. A lot of people who's a kinesthetic learner in the room? That would be me. All the different types of learning, right? I'm a visual learner. I learn by seeing and people showing me. And that's the case for a large portion of the public. People want to see what you're creating. And so explainers and demos do a great job of that. Whether it's showing how the product is made, showing your process for getting it to them, whatever it is. It's a way to connect with your audience on a different way. These videos shorten the sales cycle because they answer questions that your customers have before they even ask them. Who would like to answer the questions of your customers before they even ask them? I know I would, right? And what that does is that creates trust. That's where the trust is starting to be built. And these are also ROI machines, right? Because they're clarifying your offering, they're reducing friction in your buyer's journey, and that means fewer sales calls. Everybody say amen, right? Fewer sales calls, less confusion, and a shorter time to conversion, which is what we're all after. And so for complex businesses, this can often be probably the most impactful video in your scope of content. And then we look at authority. So this is thought leadership and coaching. So who's a leader? We're all leaders of a company or a team or something like that. Everybody in this room mostly. You lead teams internally, right? Well, not only should you be leading your teams internally, you should be leading your customers. And when I say that, I almost want to reiterate it because it's so important. As leaders, we often think, well, I got to make sure my team knows what they're doing today. Or I got to make sure my team knows what our sales goals are. Yeah, you do. But what are your customers doing? Are you leading them to your product? Are you leading them to what you ultimately need them to accomplish, which is to trust you and buy your product, to rent from you? Whatever the transaction is, that's what you should be doing. And authority content does that. And so what is that? What is it, authority content? What is authority video? Well, it's you on camera. It's the leader of the team. It's the leader of the company on camera, talking directly to your audience and telling them who you are, why why you started your business, why you're in this to begin with, right? But when we got up here, Charlie and I both talked about why we started this, because we wanted to help businesses work with an agency, work with a company that cares about what they're doing, that will walk alongside them, that will create with them, not for them. And I believe that that's what this can do for your business. You're not just selling sheds, as they set up on the main stage. You're connecting with people. And when you connect with people, people come back, right? They trust you. They come back for more. They refer their friends. And this is how you scale thought leadership. Whether you're a CEO, you're an executive, you're a leader, you're a team leader, whatever that is, you're building credibility, not just for your team, but the people around you, and that includes your audience. It also elevates your reputation in the industry. Well, you're probably not thinking like industry business-wise. We're thinking industry customer-wise. It elevates your reputation amongst all the different players to your customers, which I think is so important. So number 4 is campaign and conversion. So this is designed specifically to drive action. Now this is the 4th one, not the most important one, but they're all kind of connecting to this one final thing here. This is the content that drives action. It's paid ads, social media promos, it's launch campaigns. Now you're like, man, that's a lot of big words, or that's a lot of things. I don't know what most of that is. I know how to build a social ad. I know how to post something on Facebook. The key here is that when you've already built trust through credibility, through explainers, through authority content, these conversion videos become far more effective because you're communicating and talking on something that you've already connected with your audience on, right? By this point, you've built the credibility. You've helped them understand who you are and what you sell and why you sell it. And you've told them who you are personally, and you're leading your customers. And so now it's just closing the deal. These are growth drivers. But here's the key. They only work well if you've already put all the effort into the first 3. They all 4 work together. When trust and clarity and authority are in place, your ads, your campaigns, they generate far greater ROI. And like I said, each of these types serve a different role, but together they do create an ecosystem that covers trust, it covers expertise, and it covers growth for your business. So I've got two different videos I want to show you. I'm a video guy. I got to show some videos, right? I'm going to show you 2 different ads, and then we're going to talk about it. On the left side, we've got an ad from Nike. So let's take a quick look at it. All right, so who noticed communication? Exactly. Who noticed connection? Exactly. Who noticed a product? Probably everyone. Who noticed a pair of shoes? Right? Did you see much of the person? Kind of very little, right? Not too much. All right, let's watch this. Let's watch this next one. Anybody notice any differences between those two videos? I don't know. I mean, none of them really stick out to me. One of these is selling a product. One of these is selling an emotion. One of these is connecting with an audience. It's connecting with its customer. What is it saying? It's saying, hey, we see you. We understand your pain. We understand the struggle you might have experienced at some point. You relate to this video more, right? The other one's just like, hey, we got a nice product for you. You can run faster. This one's saying break free. Break free from all the things that are holding you back. And our product, Adidas, can do that for you. You want to buy Adidas. Like I have Adidas shoes, not on today. But I do have Adidas, you know. They do such a good job of communicating a message, of a story. They create a relationship. And that's what you should be doing with your businesses. So why isn't your video landing? Why isn't the videos you're creating landing? If you're not creating any, well, we can help you with that. Here's the thing. Your customers don't want to be sold. They don't want just another video ad selling them a product. They want to be connected with. They don't need another product ad. They want to find a brand that they can relate to, that they can trust, one that they can come back to when the need arises, like I mentioned before. When everything falls apart, who are they just going to say, yep, we're going to call Smith over there across town, we're going to call them, because they have it, and I trust them. They don't know why, but they trust them. That's what's so important about this, is speaking to the heart of your customer. So there's a little bit of a framework, right? This is a very simple framework, but an easy one. You're going to do a couple things. You're going to create a video. It's going to tell a story. It's going to tell your story. It's going to tell a message that you want your customers to hear about who you are and about why you are. You're going to distribute that video. If you need to know how to do that, come find me afterwards. You're going to build trust. You're going to generate leads. You're going to scale results. You're going to reinforce the message, and then you're going to repeat that. As Charlie said, you're going to rinse and repeat. And you're going to keep doing this, until before you know it, you have an audience, you have a crowd of customers that you never saw coming.